Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So today I'm going to demonstrate a supine roll down continuum using a incline-decline bench. So the idea here is a lot of times this is for people that are having a difficult time doing any type of sit-up or crunch for the neck. And also this can be very useful for promoting some segmental spinal mobility. So somebody who's got more of a stenosis or stenotic presentation where they need to flex, but they're having a hard time getting any segmental flexion, this can be quite useful for, but it can be very, very graded to make it very easy to much harder from a challenge from the abdominal perspective, also from how much range of motion you're going through. One of the real reasons I like using a bench too like this is that you can dig your heels in and back so that you can engage your hamstrings. Because oftentimes what we're looking to do is create this flexion in combination with some hip extension activity, such as with the hamstring, as opposed to doing a sit-up where you lock the ankles this way and you actually are kicking forward, which is going to engage your quads more. So that's going to engage hip flexors with the abdominals, but the hip flexors often couple with the lumbar spine. So there's sort of this fight between abs and back when you do too much with the quads. So I like to push back through the heels as I'm working through this, which actually makes it much harder, but because we can make it so gradual, you can still do it successfully. So the first thing you're going to do is hook the heels, push the heels back into the bar here, and then I want to create this little pelvic tilt motion where the back pockets are going to the back of the knees, and then I'm going to feel my back touch, and I'm thinking one segment at a time. So lumbar through the thoracic, through the cervical, and then I can reverse that. Tuck down, come back forward here, and then if I want, I'm using the hamstrings here, I can turn this into a little bit of a stretch where I come all the way down. Okay, so obviously that's not a lot of range of motion, it's pretty simple. So a good bench like this, I can move it down one, and then I go through the process again. All right, find the hamstrings, pelvic tilt gives me more hamstrings, and then my sacrum finds the bench. Then I go lumbar, I can reach my arms forward, I go thoracic, and then eventually I go cervical, and then I reverse that. Come up, if I want I can keep going, add a little bit of a stretch down, all right, so on and so forth. So if I go a little bit lower, this bench will allow me to go eventually to flat, and then a little bit of a decline. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing. Reach forward, reach forward, reach forward. It's getting a lot harder to keep my heels down. So I have to fight. I'm still trying to drive my heels back into the bench. Come down, so I got hamstring, and then I want to roll, reach. And the coming up, the concentric part of this movement is going to be harder than the eccentric. So for those that are having a hard time coming up, don't worry about it, just really maximize the eccentric here, digging the heels in, still feeling that. All right, and then relax. And if you can't come up, might find a sticking point, then you can just kind of turn to get yourself up, work on the negative. So that's even part of the continuum, is that you'll be able to get the negative with control before you'll be able to do both sides of it. So you can find, like, you can challenge yourself to go a little bit deeper with just the negative when you're ready to do this. So this brings me to completely flat here, and I can bring my feet up a little bit. I've still got this bar here where I'm gonna try to hook my hamstrings. Feel the hamstrings nice and slow. Reach. Still feeling those hamstrings. Going through, I might change my arm position. Now here, I'm gonna just get a little bit of a reach, try to keep my back flush here. Start bringing my arms down as I tuck the chin. A lot more work happening here. Hamstrings are pulling me up. And then the last progression, at least with this bench, would be go through a decline motion, curling, reaching, sacrum, lumbar, thoracic, cervical, add the reach, bring it back up, pulling with the hamstrings to bring me all the way back up, okay? So I end up feeling abs and hamstrings working quite a bit on that last progression, and I wouldn't want to do this for that many reps, maybe somewhere between 3 and 5, do sets of that. hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can go to movementprofessional.com. I'll see you next time.